Okay, so we're down here by the barn and we're gonna do the first test. So we got it mounted there, and again, we are perfect line of sight with the barn down there. So that's the speed from the house to the barn. Let's go a little bit further. Let's get on the other side of the pond. All right, we're gonna check the Wi-Fi speed. That Wi-Fi router is just up there on the lot. I'm standing right in the middle of the floor here in the barn. I am extremely impressed with coming from my house, being able to come all the way out here into my woods and get the Wi-Fi. So, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Mike and you're watching Triple T Acres. And I'm excited about the video today because we are going to be showing you how I am going to get Wi-Fi all the way out in my property. Now, I'm up here by my house right now, but I purchased all this property out here in the distance several years ago. And I actually built this barn, if you see right over my right shoulder, I built that barn just a couple years ago too, and I've always wanted to get internet down there. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the system that I'm using. I think it's a really unique system and it should work really, really well. And we're gonna install it, I'm gonna test it and show you how to set it up. So stick around guys, I hope you enjoy the video. So I want to bring you guys inside really quick and show you what we're going to be using and go over some of the details on what this stuff actually is and how it works before we go into the install. I'm also not going to be doing an unboxing. It is so easy to put together. I didn't even read the instructions on putting it together because it was so easy. So I'm not going to bore you with an unboxing. So let me show you what I've got here. This is the Wavelink, and I was lucky enough to get this sent to me from the company. And all they wanted me to do is just do a video review of it and maybe a little bit of an install. They give no strings attached. So I'm gonna give you my honest opinion on this. And I'll tell you right now, I've already been using it for about a week now, and it's been great. So the first thing that they sent me is the Wavelink AX3000 Wi-Fi 6 outdoor access point. Now this thing does multiple things, and this might be the only thing that you need. So what I'm trying to do is, as you can see in the beginning of the video, I'm trying to get internet down to my barn. And most systems are gonna be bridge systems. And basically all they are is a plate from one side of your house and whatever the other point is you're trying to connect it to, and they have to be in line of sight. And it's basically a directional beam of internet that it catches on the other side, and you can bring internet into that other structure. So if it's another building or an office that you're trying to get internet to, that's how you can connect it. Now this is very similar to a bridge system, but what's nice is it also doubles as a Wi-Fi extender. So all of the outside internet I can actually get throughout my property. So if you have a remote property somewhere, or you have maybe a campground or something like that you want to share the Wi-Fi connection to, it is great. What's really nice is it has multiple different settings. I actually wanted to use this thing as a repeater. So what I did is I mounted it on the side of my house, and it had enough connection between inside and out that it was able to take that signal and repeat it on. So basically, once I lose connection here, it's going to give a new Wi-Fi signal out there. So what's really important with this though, if you want to use it as a repeater, so basically taking the Wi-Fi signal and then repeating it on, you need a strong connection between your Wi-Fi router inside to this access point. I had a very weak signal from inside of my house to this device. So what I ended up doing is I set it up as a repeater, and what's nice about this is it's power over Ethernet. So all I needed is just a nearby outlet. I was able to take an Ethernet cable, connect it to this power over Ethernet. So basically what it does, it takes your outlet power, puts it into a box, and I'm gonna show you all that here in a little bit. And then you plug your Ethernet cable and it's able to power through the Ethernet cable and power this thing. So I was able to plug it in there and I tested it out, and I could get good signal down there. I could probably get about 20 or 30 megabytes per second, but my house actually produces about 400 megabytes per second. Now this can go up to, I wanna say 3 gigs, which is extremely fast internet. So after trying it as a Wi-Fi repeater, there's another mode that this thing can be in, and it's called an access point. And what I did is I actually directly wired this thing through the Ethernet clear back to my Wi-Fi router, so a direct connection. So I didn't lose any of the internet through the air or through my house or through my walls. It was plumbed basically directly into this, and then that's where I got the very high speed internet. I was able to broadcast it out through my property, and I'm gonna show you that. We're gonna test that out, how far this will actually send the signal. It's actually remarkable how it is, so I'm excited for you to see that. So this might be all you need. Now, I got clear down to my barn, and it was not enough signal to go through the metal siding of my barn and the 5 to 6 inches of spray foam that I have on the walls. But right outside of it, I was getting full 200 to 300 megabytes per second directly outside that building. So that's kind of the struggles that you might have with an outbuilding, is if it has metal siding, it has a difficult time getting Wi-Fi signal through that. And you might already be struggling with that already. So I contacted the company and they had something else that I could use. So if that is you, if you have a building that's pretty far away from your access point, you're gonna need something like this. And this is the AC1200. Both of these and anything else that can help you through this process, if you wanna do this, there's gonna be links down in the description so you can use them. They are affiliate links, so I will get a little bit of commission on it, but it won't cost you any more, but it'll be all down there so if you wanna do it. This right here made all the difference in the world. So what this does is they're basically very similar products, only this is a much more powerful. This is what's gonna be sending the internet down. This will actually receive it, and it will receive it and repeat it like I was originally trying to do it there. So now that this was closer to my building, I was hoping that that Wi-Fi signal, now that it's really, really close to the shell, could go through the wall and give me the internet inside the barn that I really wanted. Well, it did do that, but it wasn't fast as I wanted it to. It would have been enough. I was getting about 20 to 25 megabytes per second, and I know inside my house I can get 400 out of that router, so I wanted to squeeze a little bit more out of it. So I contacted the company, and they said that I can use it as a repeater, but through that Ethernet cable, it can actually send the internet through the cable. And if I put a Wi-Fi router inside the barn, it now does not have to travel through the skin of the building. It can actually go directly into a new Wi-Fi router and then send that signal inside. Now, this seems like a lot of things. And when I go out there and I show you exactly how this thing works, it's not gonna seem that complicated. It wasn't. I'm not an IT guy. I am just a do-it-yourself guy. I just wanna figure out how things work. And this was a really cool experience, and I'm glad I did it. So don't let this seem like it's overcomplicated for you. It's not. Once you see it, I promise you, it's not gonna be that big a deal. So that's basically how I have it working. Now, what's awesome about this that's different than a bridge system, even though I'm using it like a bridge, is I get the benefits of having Wi-Fi throughout my property out there. Everything is password protected. I can share it with my guests. Again, if you've got a campground or something like that, or maybe multiple buildings on your property, I was talking to a friend that has a farm and he has got some animals out there. Imagine if you could send Wi-Fi signal out to those buildings, and you can even put security cameras on your individual livestock and be able to monitor some of your stuff inside your house. Tons of benefits of being able to get internet out to your property. But without further ado, let's get into a little bit of the install. I'm gonna show you how I mount it on the side of my house and how I mount it to the barn. And what we're gonna do after that is I'm gonna test all of the Wi-Fi signal, and we're gonna go really, really far, and I'm gonna show you exactly how this stuff works. But guys, I hope you enjoy this video, and again, I hope this helps you with getting internet out to your property, because it definitely did mine. So stick around, guys. So we're on the side of the house, and we are in line of sight of my pole barn. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mount that access point right here on the corner, because I know it's a straight line shot to my barn. And then I'm gonna install that other system that's gonna catch that signal, and then we're gonna be able to broadcast it inside the barn. So let's get this thing mounted up here, and then we'll move down to the barn. So inside that box, you'll see that they gave this piece of paper. And what this does is it has a spot that when I go up to the side of the house, I'm going to put my screws in those exact places. And then what they will do is they will match perfectly to the back side of the access point. So once I get these screws into the siding, then I'll be able to take this and then just hang it up on the wall, and then I'll have my line of sight. So let's get that mounted right now. All right, so I'm gonna come up here, and I'm gonna actually stick this thing up here because it has really long antennas, and I wanna make sure that when I mount it, it's going to be in a decent spot. And I think right here is perfect. That's where we're gonna put it. And since it's a piece of paper, what's really nice is what I'll do is I'll actually just run my screws right through the holes, and then I'll just pull the paper out because I know it will fit. All right, we'll see if this will line up right. In theory, it should. Just got to get those open holes lined up the back of the bracket. There we go. And now we just slide it down into the grooves. Good to go. So we got it mounted there, and again, we are perfect line of sight with the barn down there. Next thing I got to do is I got to drill a hole in my soffit and feed that Ethernet cable down to give this the internet service. You know, and I like mounting these things up underneath the soffits because these are weatherproof, but this is just going to give it another 1 foot overhang of some weatherproof. So I'm going to drill a hole here because I want the Ethernet cable to come down, and we'll go behind it and create a little loop. And then there's a nice weather port that'll keep it protected, keep any moisture from getting inside of here. So let's just get this hole nice and drilled. All right, so we're out here. I was actually able to pull it through the little hole here, and I've got it running behind, and now I'm gonna put a little J-loop and we're gonna stick it in there. But first we have to add this little weather guard here, and this just keeps the weather out of it. And let me just show you kind of the components it has in it. All right, so I got this thing stretched out so you can see it. What you do with this is you unscrew it here, and you have to slide this nut through your Ethernet cable here. So it goes through there. It has a little rubber gasket. You're gonna pull this thing out, and it has a little slit in it, and that is what goes around your Ethernet cable. This is what keeps it weatherproof. Then you take this and you slide it right back through your Ethernet, down in that groove. Screw this over the top. And then we stick this into the access point, screw this in, and tighten it all up. See a little tool here just to snug everything up. It doesn't have to be crazy tight because we're just talking about plastic fittings here. So that's snug. And then this, we're gonna screw in hand tight, and it's gonna squeeze that gasket down nice and tight and keep the weather completely out. All right, there it is. Fully installed on the side of the building. All I gotta do is just feed the wire back up and we're good to go. All right, check it out. We got it installed here. We are running out of daylight, so we're gonna have to move the rest of the install to another day, but it is sending the signal out to all the property. Next thing I got to do is get that AC1200 repeater down there to receive that signal. But right now this is broadcasting a ton of Wi-Fi all over this property, and we're going to test all that out, so you're going to want to stick around. All right guys, we'll pick up here tomorrow. All right, it is the next day, and I am getting this AC1200 mounted to this post. Now, you saw when I installed the other one, I screwed it directly into the side of the house. You can actually mount these things to poles. The company actually sends some zip ties, and you can mount them that way too. I just chose to do it this way. It was pretty easy. But here, I just run the Ethernet cable across and inside my building, and I'm making my connections here inside, and we'll be getting it connected to that Wi-Fi router here in just a minute. I wanted to show you this part. I just made up my Ethernet cable. So if you got to run some long Ethernet cables to get these things connected, you don't have to buy Cat5 clamp. And what I do, and I'll show you here, and there's plenty of information on the internet as far as like the color codes when you strip these things down. But if you look really close in here, you have these little copper ends. And what a clamp will actually do is once you shove those wires in there, a clamp will press those things in to make contact with each one of those individual wires. What I did is I take a really tiny flathead screwdriver and I individually go, and it seems a little tedious, but it's not worth spending $20 on it for, 4 connections. But I'll take each one of these and I'll be very, very precise, and I'll press each one of those down, and what it does is it makes contact with those wires. So I've already made 4 connections this way, and it seems to work really, really well. So the last part of this connection is this power over Ethernet. And what this does is instead of having to plug that system into an outlet, all you need to do is run these Ethernet cables. And what this will do is you'll plug this into the wall or any outlet. And what this will do is it'll actually send power over the Ethernet. So this will power the unit out there, and then we will have internet at that repeater. So we'll click this in, and actually you'll see on here that it says PoE, which is power over Ethernet. So now that we're clicked in, let's go out there and check to see if we have signal. I'm hoping that it works. All right, we're out here by the repeater, and it looks like we've got good, strong signal. Now all we got to do is test it out. Okay, so we're down here by the barn, and we're going to do the first test. Here's the barn behind me. I'm going to set the camera up here on the front porch, and I'm going to show you how far away the house is. And I'm going to do a screen recording, and we're going to test the speed from this distance. So off in the distance, the white truck up there, that is actually my house. And I'll try to zoom in with the camera where the access point is, but you saw earlier in the video where I mounted it. And right here to my right, let me turn the camera around here, is that repeater. But we're not going to connect to that right now. I'm just going to show you how well this thing works, just hooking the Wi-Fi up and seeing how far it goes out in the property. So we're going to test it here. We're going to go a little bit further in the woods, and we're going to go as far as we can until we lose connection. Then I'm going to bring it back in. We're going to test the Wi-Fi speed inside this barn, and that's going to show how the repeater is going to bring it inside the barn. So let's go ahead and pull my phone up. I'm gonna put it on a screen record and we're going to test the speed. All right, so let's go into speed test. All right, and go. All right, looks like we're getting about 180 and 200 megabytes per second. And again, we are, I would say we're a good 300 feet away from it right now. So yeah, check it out. And then our upload speed is gonna be, looks like above 10 here. So that's the speed from the house to the barn. Let's go a little bit further. Let's get on the other side of the pond, and then we're gonna go a little bit further in the woods and check the speed there. So now we're on the other side of the pond. Right back there is my pool building, and way off in the distance is my house right there where the white truck is. Let's go ahead and test the speed at this distance. And again, I'll show you from Google Earth where I'm positioned versus where the house is. So now we'll test the speed. All right, here we go. I'm getting over 200 right here. I'm actually, yeah, so we're 195. We're averaging above 100 megabytes per second clear over here. And this is, again, connected to my house. We're not even at the repeater on the barn just yet. And our upload speed is 11 megabytes. It's all, upload speed is usually a lot slower than the other, but the download speed is what we're looking for the most. All right, let's go a little bit further in the woods and see if we can get this as far as we can go. Okay, so we're a little bit further in the woods here, and you're probably losing sight, but maybe you can see in the distance, we went, you know, maybe another 100 yards or so. Again, I'll put where we're at on the map, and let's test our speed again. Let me get the screen record back up. Now for the speed test. All right, now we're pulling, it was at 100, now we're back down to about 50. Now we're up to 60, 70. It's gonna be a little bit more wild out here the further we go away, but it looks like we're staying steady now around 120 megabytes per second, which is crazy to think that I'm pulling it from my house all the way out there and I'm back in my woods. Now, I imagine when the foliage is back on, we're here in the winter time, it might be a little bit more difficult to get through the leaves, but nonetheless, this is pretty incredible that that Wi-Fi is extending clear out here. Pretty amazing. So let's go a little bit further and see if we lose the connection. All right, now we are at the very back of my property and it looks like I've got quite a bit of brush in my way. Let's see if we have a signal here. And if we don't have a signal, let me see if I can reach and get that repeater that's at my barn out to here. Now, I think we've met its maximum capabilities. I'm gonna show you from an aerial view of where we're standing right here. And I'll even try to put the measurement, how many feet we are from my house where we lost it. But I am extremely impressed with coming from my house, being able to come all the way out here into my woods and get the Wi-Fi. So that's really, really cool. It actually opens up some other capabilities. I might be able to put some security cameras that run off of solar power on my trees and watch the wildlife that comes through here and even monitor like surveillance, make sure no one's on my property. So that could be something that you could do with your property if you don't have a whole lot of obstructions. Man, this thing really goes super far. And again, that Wi-Fi extender is coming off of my house and we are so far back here right now. I imagine if I got another one of those really strong ones and put them on the side of my building, I could get even further, but I don't really need it to go that much further. I'm very happy with where it's at right now. So let's go back to the barn right now and let me show you how I have it set up in the barn, coming from that repeater, bringing it inside the building, and I'll show you how much speed that I'm getting inside the barn from internet that's coming from my house. Let's go check it out. All right, back down here to the barn. This is that repeater I was talking about earlier. Ethernet cable that is going in there, power over Ethernet. There's not a power cable into that. I don't have to have an outlet anywhere out here, but you can, if you're just using it as a repeater, all you need is an outlet nearby and use the power over Ethernet, and then you could just repeat the signal. But my situation, that Wi-Fi has a difficult time penetrating the walls. That will actually get through the walls, but not as fast as I want it to. So let me show you how I have it routed. I'm sure you saw on the install video, I have it going up and then I have it going inside the barn. Let's go inside and let me show you how I have it connected. All right, so we're in here and you can see the foam on the wall. That is another barrier that is keeping that Wi-Fi out of my building. So what I did is I ran the Ethernet cable in and I made some new connections. did the power over Ethernet right here. So that's what's giving it its juice. And then I ran it into another Wi-Fi router. So now the internet is coming from the repeater through the wire into the Wi-Fi router. So let's connect to that Wi-Fi in here and let me show you the speed. All right, we're gonna check the Wi-Fi speed. That Wi-Fi router is just up there on the loft. I'm standing right in the middle of the floor here in the barn. And once you get inside the barn, you could use any residential Wi-Fi router once you bring it inside. Those repeaters are gonna be the ones that are connecting the internet from the house outside. And again, those are weatherproof too, so they can handle some serious weather conditions. I think they're rated like IP6 or something like that. I think that's its weather rating, which is pretty daggone good. All right, so let's select our Wi-Fi router in here and check the speed. All right, here we go. Inside the barn. Nice, we're getting over 100. It actually said my average download speed was 95.8. My upload speed is a little over 10. Pretty amazing. Now, this is coming from my house. Again, started from inside my house at my main router. I actually have it connected through the Ethernet cable to the access point, and then the access point is pushing internet via Wi-Fi out here. The repeater's catching the Wi-Fi, bringing it in, Ethernet cable into a new Wi-Fi inside the barn because of the barrier, because of the metal building, makes it very difficult to get in here. So that is a solution if you're having difficulty getting the internet inside your barn. So pretty awesome. I'm really excited about how this stuff has worked. So there you have it, another way to get internet out to your property if you have an area that you'd like to extend your internet coverage, but you don't want to pay your internet company to come out and bring in new service somewhere. This is a great way to save a lot of money, a little bit of money up front buying the equipment, but man, now I have internet throughout my entire property. And the main reason why I wanted to do that is to get internet down here at the barn. And if you are struggling to get it inside the barn, hopefully this video helped you with that. And again, all of those products are going to be linked down below. They are affiliate links. And again, I will get a little bit of commission for that, but it shouldn't cost you any more. Guys, if you like this kind of content, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. But until next time, we'll see you in the next video.